I stood in the hospital corridor, holding the late-night snack I had bought for my wife. 10 minutes earlier, she had suddenly texted me, saying she wanted dumplings from the shop across the street. Without thinking twice, I rushed out of the office. Lately, her pregnancy symptoms had been severe, and I was terrified she might go hungry. "Naomi, I'm back." The moment I pushed open the ward door, I froze. On the hospital bed, my wife, 7 months pregnant, was passionately kissing a young man she was holding tightly. Their bodies were entwined, not even bothering to avoid her swollen belly. Moonlight streamed in through the window, casting their shadows onto the wall, like a cruel, mocking silhouette. The takeout box slipped from my hand, soup spilling everywhere. Naomi jolted in shock and hurriedly pushed the man away. Her face still carried the flush of pleasure, but it quickly turned into sheer panic. "Honey, you came back so soon?" What a ridiculous question. The man, on the other hand, remained calm. He straightened his collar, his lips curling into a smug smile. Only then did I see his face clearly. Handsome, youthful, no more than 25 or 26. "Dominic, go now," Naomi said anxiously. So his name was Dominic. Even as he left, he turned back to look at Naomi, his eyes filled with lustful ambiguity. He swaggered right past me, not even acknowledging me as her husband. The ward was left only with Naomi and me. "Honey, please let me explain." "Explain what?" My voice was unnervingly calm. "Explain that you were kissing another man? Or explain whose child is in your belly?" Her face turned deathly pale. You're talking nonsense. Of course the child is yours." I let out a cold laugh. "Really? Then tell me, why would you let another man kiss you and hold you while you're pregnant? You've been so protective of this child that you wouldn't even let me touch you, and now you're clinging to someone else?" "It's not like that. Dominic and I were just a moment of weakness." Tears spilled down her face. "Honey, I was wrong. Please forgive me. I swear it won't happen again." I walked over to the window and turned my back to her. Moonlight washed over me, stretching my shadow long across the floor. 7 years of marriage, from college sweethearts to husband and wife, planning children. I thought we would grow old together. But now I realized I had been living in a dream. "How long have you known each other?" She bit her lip, saying nothing. "Answer me," I snapped, spinning around. 3 months." Her voice was barely audible. "He's a new intern at the company." 3 months. That meant when she was 4 months pregnant, she had already started this affair. Memories from the past 3 months flooded my mind. She always claimed morning sickness, asking me to pick her up from work at night. Now it seems those were the times she was sneaking around with Dominic. She said the pregnancy was unstable and that we couldn't be intimate. Worried about the baby, I endured it. Yet she let another man embrace her and kiss her. She complained that I was too busy with work, that I didn't spend enough time with her. But hadn't I always dropped everything just to be by her side? So whose child is it really? "It's yours! It's really yours!" she almost screamed. "Dominic and I never did anything else. It was just kissing." You think I'd believe that? This woman, was she still the wife I once loved so deeply? After getting pregnant, she was practically hospitalized every day, claiming it was for the baby's safety. The doctor said her condition wasn't good and required constant monitoring. I never dared to slack off, terrified something would go wrong. Now I understood. The hospital had become their nest for infidelity. "Honey, please forgive me just once, for the child's sake." She struggled to get out of bed, her heavy belly weighing her down, trying to hug me. I stepped back. "Don't move. Be careful with your lover's child." "No, the child really is yours," she almost screamed. "If you don't believe me, we can do a paternity test." "We will." I turned toward the door. When the baby is born, I'll make sure we do a paternity test. But before then, you'd better pray this child is truly mine." "Honey," she called after me. I walked away without looking back. In the corridor, nurses pushed medicine carts past me, laughing and chatting about which new mother had just delivered a chubby baby boy today. How ironic. My wife, carrying who knows what's child, was having an affair with another man in the maternity ward. I stood at the hospital entrance and lit a cigarette. Through the swirling smoke, I saw Dominic waiting by the elevator not far away. When he spotted me, he even had the audacity to greet me. President Alex. I strode forward and punched him in the face. He staggered back, slamming into the wall. "Fuck you," he cursed, clutching his face. I grabbed his collar. "Dominic, right? Feeling proud, seducing another man's wife gives you a sense of achievement?" "None of your damn business," he sneered. "You can't even keep your wife in line and you blame me. Besides, she came on to me. I didn't force her." I smashed my fist into his nose again. Blood instantly streamed down. "Here's some advice." I gripped his throat tightly. "Stay away from my wife, or I'll make sure you can't survive in this city." "Heh, you think you who are, just some upstart with money? Let me tell you, your wife is sweet as hell, hot and seductive. A tired old man like you could never satisfy her." My vision went black as rage consumed me. My fists crashed into his face again and again. Only when security rushed in did they manage to drag me off him. "You're finished," he shouted, clutching his swollen face. "I'll sue you for assault." "Go ahead, try it. But before you do, I suggest you find out who I really am." With that, I turned and left. Behind him, his furious curses echoed through the hall. Back in my car, I called the company's vice president. "Vic, check the HR files on a new intern named Dominic. Yes, I want everything. Family background, relationships, every detail." After hanging up, I called a private investigator and told him to look into every interaction Naomi and Dominic had over the past 3 months. Once that was done, I lit a second cigarette. My phone rang. It was Naomi. I declined the call. Moments later, messages popped up on WeChat. "Honey, where did you go? Don't you want me anymore? Please come back, okay? I really know I was wrong. Did you hit Dominic? He says he'll sue you. Don't be reckless." Huh. She sure learned quickly that I'd hit her little lover. Clearly, their contact hadn't been cut. I tossed the phone on the passenger seat and started the car. In the rearview mirror, the hospital building slowly shrank into the moonlight. Inside one of its rooms lay the ruins of my collapsing marriage. 3 days later, I sat in my office, staring at the investigation report on my desk. Dominic, 25 years old, graduated from a second-tier university with a major in marketing. His family background was average. Both parents were factory workers. After graduation, he worked in several small companies as a salesman. This year, through a headhunter's introduction, he joined our company as an intern. On the surface, he looked like an ordinary young man, but the report revealed a disgraceful past going all the way back to his college years. He had piled up massive online loans and dated multiple women at the same time. After graduation, he went even further, scamming several women under the guise of matchmaking. How did someone like this even pass our company's background check? I picked up the phone. "Tell Manager Koo from HR to come to my office." Soon, Manager Koo walked in. "Manager Koo, what's going on with this Dominic? Who was responsible for his background check?" It was Manager Naomi herself," Koo said, wiping sweat from his forehead. "She claimed Dominic was recommended by her cousin and insisted there was nothing wrong with his character." Manager Naomi. Naomi. My dear wife. So she had been colluding with Dominic long before? She deliberately brought him into the company to make their affair more convenient? "Terminate Dominic's internship contract immediately." But manager Naomi. What? Do personnel decisions in this company need her approval now? No, of course not, Ku said quickly, waving his hands. I'll take care of it right away. He was about to leave, but I stopped him. One more thing. HR needs restructuring. You'll take full responsibility. Naomi's work will be fully transferred to you. Yes, sir. Ku looked relieved. I knew he had long despised the way Naomi did things. These past few months, she hardly ever came to the company, using her so-called pregnancy complications as an excuse, yet she clung tightly to control over HR appointments. Now, I finally understood why. The private investigator's report was even more shocking. In the past 3 months, Dominic had been to the hospital almost every single day to accompany Naomi. Not only that, they had engaged in intimate acts multiple times in the hospital lounge. Several photos clearly captured them kissing. There were even videos. What enraged me most was that Naomi had never needed to be hospitalized at all. She had simply used the excuse of protecting the pregnancy as a cover to meet Dominic. My hand clenched into a fist unconsciously. The thought of her, 7 months pregnant, clinging to another man, made me want to strangle her. Just then, my secretary knocked on the door. President Alex, manager Naomi is downstairs. She says it's urgent and she must see you. Send her up. Before long, Naomi walked into my office. Today, she wore a loose maternity dress, looking fragile and pitiful. For the past 3 days, I hadn't gone home or taken any of her calls. She must have finally run out of patience. "Honey," she called out, her eyes red with tears. I gestured for the secretary to leave and shut the door. "What is it?" "Why did you fire Dominic?" she asked anxiously. I sneered. "Why? Heartbroken for your little lover?" "No," she bit her lip. "His family background is poor. He really needs this job." "So you pity him, huh?" I threw the photos onto the desk. "Look, is this what you call nothing happened?" Her face turned deathly pale as she flipped through the pictures, her hands trembling. Each one recorded her betrayal with brutal clarity. You had me followed?" "Otherwise what?" I said coldly. "Should I have waited until you two staged an R-rated scene in the ward?" "No, it's not what you think." She was so desperate she was almost crying. "Dominic and I really just got intimate, but we never slept together." "And you think that makes it okay?" I stared at her icily. "Naomi, you let another man touch your belly. You let him kiss you, hold you. Tell me, doesn't that make you cheap?" "Honey," she crawled forward, clutching my leg. "I was wrong. I truly know I'm wrong. Please forgive me just one this time. I swear I'll never dare again." I shoved her away. "Stand up, lying there like that. Be careful with your lover's child." "No," she sobbed. "The child really is yours. I never slept with Dominic. If you don't believe me, we can do a paternity test right now." "Do it." I looked down at her from above. "But before then, you'd better pray this child is mine. Otherwise..." "Otherwise?" "Otherwise, I'll make you regret ever being alive." She collapsed onto the floor, crying uncontrollably. I walked over to the window and looked down at the traffic below. This woman, once the person I loved most. For her, I gave everything. And she cheated on me with some boy toy. What was even laughable was that she still had the nerve to beg me to spare him. "Go," I said coldly. "Go home and take care of your pregnancy. As for Dominic, you'd better pray he never shows up in front of me again. Otherwise, I won't mind teaching him a lesson." You want to do what to him?" she asked in panic. I turned around and stared at her pale face. "You care that much about him?" "No, I just..." "Get out." She flinched violently, then scrambled out of the office in panic. I sneered and shook my head. This woman, still speaking up for that man even now? So she truly had fallen in love with Dominic. Fine. Then I'll make her watch as her beloved man is utterly ruined. I'll make her understand, in despair, what the price of betrayal is. Just then, my phone buzzed. It was a threatening text from Dominic. Alex, you screwed me over. My job's gone, and I won't let this slide. I smirked. This was just the beginning. I had already warned you, stay away from my wife. Since you didn't listen, don't blame me for being ruthless. Heh, you think this scares me? Let me tell you, your wife came on to me first. She said you're useless. Couldn't even satisfy her. Every time I touched her, she moaned like crazy, sluttier than a whore. My vision went black. I nearly crushed the phone in my hand. Taking a deep breath, I typed back. Good. You want to see what I can do to you? I'll show you. After a long pause, he replied, Bring it on. You think I'm scared? At worst, I'll send you videos of your wife begging for it. My eyes narrowed. This idiot, he still dared to threaten me? What he didn't know was that I had already planted spyware in his phone. Every chat with Naomi, every photo, every video. They were all in my hands, including evidence of him threatening other women. I called a trusted friend and told him to leak Dominic's past scams to the media. Soon, Dominic would learn what it meant to cross me. I would drag him step by step into the abyss, make him collapse in despair, and let Naomi watch as her beloved man lost everything. Late at night, I lay on the sofa in the study. Faintly, I heard Naomi's muffled sobs from the bedroom. Heh, what are you crying for now? Are you crying for your lover's impending downfall, or for the end of your good days? It doesn't matter. Soon enough, you'll both learn how high the price of betraying me really is. A week later, Dominic's scandals exploded all over the internet. News surfaced that he had swindled female classmates back in college. Soon after, people dug up his sordid history of conning women out of money and sex under the guise of blind dates. Several victims came forward with real-name accusations. Others released chat records with him. Public outrage ignited instantly. I sat in my office watching the flood of online condemnation. Dominic had already been doxxed. His photos, address, even his parents' information was exposed. Netizens cursed him relentlessly, vowing to destroy him socially. Just then, my secretary knocked on the door. President Alex, Manager Naomi, no, Madam Naomi is outside. Let her in. Naomi hurried in, her face pale. It was you, wasn't it? I looked at her. What are you talking about? You had people leak Dominic's dark past. Her voice trembled, almost breaking. Why would you do this? He'll be ruined. I slowly stood and walked toward her. So, you came here to beg for your little lover. No, I just think it doesn't have to be this cruel. Doesn't have to? I sneered. He seduced my wife, tore apart my family, and you say it doesn't have to? But, smack. My palm landed hard across her face. She clutched her cheek, staring at me in disbelief. You hit me. Hit you? I gripped her wrist tightly. Naomi, do you think I'd stop at just one slap? You cheated on me with another man, and now you dare defend him to my face? No, it's not like that. Tears streamed down her face. I really didn't do anything with Dominic. It was just a moment of weakness. Weakness? I released her and pulled out a stack of photos from the drawer and threw them at her face. Look at these. You let another man hold you, kiss you? Tell me, is that what you call weakness? The photos scattered across the floor. Each one clearly captured their intimacy with Dominic. Her face drained of color, her body trembling. You actually had me spied on? If I didn't, how would I know what my dear wife was doing in the hospital? I spat each word. You claimed you needed hospitalization to protect the pregnancy, but really it was just an excuse to meet your little lover, wasn't it? You said the morning sickness was severe, but really it was just to keep me from touching you, wasn't it? You better pray the child in your belly is mine. I leaned close, staring into her pale face. Otherwise, I won't hesitate to ruin you. Neither you nor your lover will get away unscathed. No, don't, she stumbled back in fear. The child really is yours. Please don't hurt him. We'll know once a paternity test is done after he's born, I said coldly. But until then, I'll make both of you taste what betrayal feels like. Suddenly, she threw herself down and clutched my leg. Honey, please forgive me. I truly know I was wrong. I'll never dare again. I kicked her away. Get out. Do you really think I'll ever believe you? She fell heavily on the floor, clutching her belly in pain, curling up. Ah, it hurts. A trace of pity flickered in my eyes, but it was quickly swallowed by rage. This woman didn't deserve my mercy. She had betrayed me for a boy toy and now dared to beg for him. I picked up the phone. Tell security to escort her home. Soon, the guards came in and dragged her out. All the way, she cried out, Honey, don't throw me out. I was wrong. I truly know I was wrong. I stared at the gloomy clouds outside and lit a cigarette. My phone buzzed. It was another threatening text from Dominic. Alex, it's you messing with me, isn't it? If you've got balls, face me head on. I smirked. This idiot, still clueless about what's coming. I had already warned you to stay away from my wife. Since you didn't listen, don't blame me for being ruthless. You think this scares me? Let me tell you, your wife came on to me first. She said you're useless. Couldn't even satisfy her. Every time I touched her, she moaned like crazy, sluttier than a whore. My vision went black. I nearly crushed the phone in my hand. Taking a deep breath, I typed back. Good. You want to see what I can do to you? I'll show you. After a long pause, he replied, Bring it on. You think I'm scared? At worst, I'll send you videos of your wife begging for it. My eyes narrowed. This idiot, he still dared to threaten me? What he didn't know was that I had already planted spyware in his phone. Every chat with Naomi, every photo, every video. They were all in my hands, including evidence of him threatening other women. I called a trusted friend and told him to leak Dominic's past scams to the media. Soon, Dominic would learn what it meant to cross me. I would drag him step by step into the abyss, make him collapse in despair, and let Naomi watch as her beloved man lost everything. Late at night, I lay on the sofa in the study. Faintly, I heard Naomi's muffled sobs from the bedroom. Heh, what are you crying for now? Are you crying for your lover's impending downfall, or for the end of your good days? It doesn't matter. Soon enough, you'll both learn how high the price of betraying me really is. A week later, Dominic's scandals exploded all over the internet. News surfaced that he had swindled female classmates back in college. Soon after, people dug up his sordid history of conning women out of money and sex under the guise of blind dates. Several victims came forward with real-name accusations. Others released chat records with him. Public outrage ignited instantly. I sat in my office watching the flood of online condemnation. Dominic had already been doxxed. His photos, address, even his parents' information was exposed. Netizens cursed him relentlessly, vowing to destroy him socially. Just then, my secretary knocked on the door. President Alex, Manager Naomi, no, Madam Naomi is outside. Let her in. Naomi hurried in, her face pale. It was you, wasn't it? I looked at her. What are you talking about? You had people leak Dominic's dark past. Her voice trembled, almost breaking. Why would you do this? He'll be ruined. I slowly stood and walked toward her. So, you came here to beg for your little lover? No, I just think it doesn't have to be this cruel. Doesn't have to? I sneered. He seduced my wife, tore apart my family, and you say it doesn't have to? But, smack. My palm landed hard across her face. She clutched her cheek, staring at me in disbelief. You hit me. Hit you? I gripped her wrist tightly. Naomi, do you think I'd stop at just one slap? You cheated on me with another man, and now you dare defend him to my face? No, it's not like that. Tears streamed down her face. I really didn't do anything with Dominic. It was just a moment of weakness. Weakness? I released her and pulled out a stack of photos from the drawer and threw them at her face. Look at these. You let another man hold you, kiss you? Tell me, is that what you call weakness? The photos scattered across the floor. Each one clearly captured their intimacy with Dominic. Her face drained of color, her body trembling. You actually had me spied on? If I didn't, how would I know what my dear wife was doing in the hospital? I spat each word. You claimed you needed hospitalization to protect the pregnancy, but really it was just an excuse to meet your little lover, wasn't it? You said the morning sickness was severe, but really it was just to keep me from touching you, wasn't it? You better pray the child in your belly is mine. I leaned close, staring into her pale face. Otherwise, I shoved her away. If you only loved me, then why betray me? Why cheat with him? Why are you still pleading for him now? She collapsed to the ground, sobbing without strength. I sneered and shook my head. Fine. Since you love him so much, I'll let you two have each other. With that, I turned and stormed into the study, slamming the door shut. This woman, she still refused to admit she loved that man? Did she really think I was that easy to fool? I picked up the phone. Release the rest of Dominic's dirt. Make sure he can't stay in this city. Very soon, an even bigger storm would arrive. I would make them both taste what betrayal feels like. 3 days later, more scandals about Dominic exploded online. His loan sharking debts, detailed accounts of his scams, and multiple criminal offenses, all were exposed. Public outrage against him grew louder and louder. Someone even leaked his home address, threatening to block him at his house. His parents were harassed online so badly that they had to move away to hide. I sat in my office, scrolling through the flood of comments online. Then a WeChat message popped up. It was from Naomi. Please, I beg you, let Dominic go. I sneered. This woman was still begging for that man even now. You care about him that much? No, she replied weakly. I just think there's no need to push things this far. His family is poor, and his parents are being harassed online. I laughed coldly and typed back. Then why don't you care about my feelings? My wife cheated on me. What do you think I'm supposed to do? She went silent for a long time before replying. I'm sorry. It's all my fault. Punish me if you want, just don't make things harder for him. You think this is punishment? I sneered. No, I want both of you to taste betrayal. Didn't you say you loved him? Then watch him lose everything. No, I didn't fall in love with him. I was wrong. I truly know I was wrong. Enough, I roared. You're still lying to me. If you didn't love him, then why are you still begging for him? She didn't reply. After a long pause, she finally sent another message. Honey, what do you want me to do before you'll forgive me? Forgive? I laughed coldly. Do you really think you still deserve forgiveness? Just wait. The real show hasn't even started. I blocked her. Just then, my secretary knocked on the door. President Alex, Dominic is causing a scene in the lobby. He insists on seeing you. The corner of my lips curled slightly. Send him up. Soon, Dominic stormed into my office. He looked exhausted, his eyes bloodshot, like a madman. Alex, this was all you, wasn't it? He charged toward me. If you've got guts, face me openly. Hiding behind tricks? What kind of man are you? I looked at him coldly. I warned you to stay away from my wife. Since you didn't listen, don't blame me for being ruthless. He sneered. You think this scares me? Let me tell you, the one who seduced me was your wife. She said you were useless, that you couldn't even satisfy her. Smack. My fist slammed into his face. He staggered back, crashing against the wall. "You bastard!" He clutched his face and lunged at me. I grabbed his collar and slammed him back against the wall. "Listen carefully. This is only the beginning. I'll make sure you can't survive in this city. I'll strip you of everything." "You wouldn't dare," he struggled. "I'll fight you to the end." "Fight?" I sneered. "With what? You think I don't know about your loan debts? About your scams on those women? Do you really think you still have a way out?" His face turned pale. How do you know?" "I told you. Never provoke me. Now you know what happens when you cross me." His body trembled. "What do you want?" I released him. "Get out of this city. Never let me see you again. Otherwise, I'll make sure you die without a grave." He collapsed onto the floor, his eyes hollow and empty. Just then, my phone rang. It was the hospital. "Mr. Alex, your wife is experiencing acute abdominal pain. She's in the emergency room now." I hung up, glanced at Dominic, and said coldly, "Remember what I told you. Get out." He stumbled away in panic. When I arrived at the hospital, Naomi was lying in the emergency room, her face pale, tears streaming nonstop. The patient was overly agitated emotionally. She nearly went into premature labor. We've stabilized the pregnancy for now. I looked at her swollen belly, irritation surging in my chest. This woman had risked even the child's life for that man. "Honey?" she called weakly. I ignored her and walked out into the corridor, lighting a cigarette. My phone rang again, an unknown number. "President Alex, this is Dominic." "What is it?" "I admit defeat," he said hoarsely. "I'll leave this city, but could you stop targeting my parents?" I sneered. "Now you finally know how to bow your head." "Yes, it was my fault." His voice broke. "I shouldn't have gone after your wife. I was blinded for a moment. Please, spare my parents." I crushed the cigarette. "Fine, but remember this. Never appear before me again. Otherwise, you'll die without a grave." I hung up and looked at the moonlight outside the window. Good. The first step of my plan was complete. Next, it was Naomi's turn. 1 month later, Dominic had already left the city. His scandals continued spreading online. Several victims had filed police reports, and authorities had begun investigating his fraud cases. I was reading the news in the study when Naomi pushed the door open. "Honey?" Without looking up, I asked, "What is it?" "Do you have any news about Dominic?" I raised my eyes coldly. "Missing your little lover?" "No," she bit her lip. "I just heard his father was hospitalized." "What does that have to do with you?" "I just thought—" "You think I've gone too far?" I interrupted, stepping toward her. "Naomi, you're still speaking up for him. Are you that cheap?" She trembled. "No, I'm not." "Then why do you keep caring about him?" I sneered. "Did you fall in love with him?" "No, I really didn't," she said anxiously. "It was just a moment of weakness." Smack. My palm slammed her face. "Still lying to me. If you didn't love him, then why betray me? Why sneak around with him? Why keep defending him now?" Covering her cheek, she sobbed uncontrollably. "I'm sorry. I truly know I was wrong." "Too late," I said coldly. "When the baby is born, we'll divorce." "No!" She dropped to her knees, clinging to my legs. "Honey, please don't divorce me." I kicked her away. "Get out. Do you really think I'll ever believe you again?" She collapsed on the floor, clutching her belly in pain. "Remember this," I said coldly. "You brought this on yourself." I turned and walked away. That night, Dominic sent me another message, begging for his father's life. I replied coldly, "Make a public confession about you and Naomi." The next day, he did. The internet exploded. Naomi broke down completely. Now she knew what betrayal felt like. The nurse rushed over and pressed her back down. "Don't move, your wound will tear open." I walked away without looking back. Behind me, her desperate cries echoed down the corridor. "Honey, please don't go." A week later, Naomi was discharged from the hospital. I sent a lawyer to see her, but she flatly refused to sign the divorce papers. "President Alex, your wife refuses to divorce no matter what," the lawyer said helplessly. "She insists on seeing you." "No." My voice was cold. "Tell her this. Either she signs or I'll ruin her completely." "This," the lawyer hesitated. "Just tell her that." I cut him off. "I have plenty of ways to make sure she has no choice." The lawyer left reluctantly. Not long after, Naomi began bombarding me with messages on WeChat. "Honey, please see me just once. I truly know I was wrong. Give me one more chance, okay? I'll do anything you say. Just don't divorce me." I didn't reply to a single message. Then my secretary came in. "President Alex, your wife is downstairs. She refuses to leave." I walked to the window and looked down. Naomi was standing in the company lobby, clutching the baby. When security tried to escort her out, she hugged the child tightly and cried loudly. What a pitiful performance. I picked up the phone. "Release the video of Dominic and Naomi online." Soon, the video spread like wildfire. Even though it was blurred, anyone with eyes could tell who it was. The comment section exploded. "Oh my God, isn't that the Lynn Corporation president's wife? Cheating during pregnancy? Disgusting. A woman like that deserves to be divorced." I stood at the window watching people downstairs point at her and whisper. Naomi clutched the baby like a wounded animal. My phone rang. It was her. "Why did you release the video?" she cried. "Why?" I sneered. "What's wrong? Does it hurt now?" "Why?" Her voice trembled through sobs. "Why are you treating me like this?" "You brought this on yourself," I said coldly. "It's not too late. Sign the papers now. Otherwise, there are more videos." She was silent for a long time. Do you really hate me that much?" "What do you think?" I mocked. "Weren't you happy enough when you betrayed me?" "I'm sorry," she whimpered. "I truly know I was wrong. Please forgive me. I'll do anything." "Too late." I hung up. "Sign the papers. That's your only choice." The next day, she finally signed the divorce agreement. Custody of the child was awarded to me. She was only allowed visitation 3 times a month. As I watched her figure disappear, I felt not a shred of pity. This was the price of betrayal. A month later, I was in a meeting when I suddenly received a call. Dominic had been in an accident. He was found in a rented apartment with severe injuries. The police investigation revealed that the person responsible was Naomi. She had gone to see Dominic, questioning him about why he exposed everything online and ruined her reputation. During their argument, she lost control and stabbed him with a fruit knife. Afterwards, she also harmed herself. She was discovered in time and rushed to the hospital. I stood in the corridor and looked through the glass at Naomi in the ICU. Her face was pale, almost devoid of strength. The doctor said her condition was critical and they didn't know if she would recover. I turned and walked away. As for her, we had long since ceased to have any connection. The next day, I received the news. Naomi was gone. Before leaving this world, she sent me one final message. "Sorry, I love you, but I cannot forgive myself." I deleted the message and tossed the phone into the drawer. This was the price of betrayal. I hired a nanny for my son and began a new life. Sometimes when I watched him sleeping peacefully, I thought of her, but none of it mattered anymore. Betrayal is betrayal. It can never be forgiven. I started dating again and met new women. Life had to move forward. As for the past, let it drift away with the wind. This was my revenge, and this was her retribution.